Yo, yo, yo. Hey, guys, welcome back to another awesome edition of the Best Practices Show podcast. My name is Kirk Barrett, where I'm only going to do one thing. Every single time you show up, I'm going to bring a great speaker, a great influencer, a brilliant mind in dentistry to shed some light on a few things to help you create a better practice and a better life. And today, I bring an amazingly talented human being and a straight shooter, Adamo, back to the show. He's been on before, and you're going to see this guy's a straight shooter. His work is brilliant. He's an awesome teacher. And today we talk about why social media, at least most of it, is BS and a highlight reel, and the good, bad, and ugly, and what you can do about it as a dentist. So check it out. I know you'll enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. Hey guys, welcome back to the Best Practices Show podcast. I'm so pumped you're here. You know, I feel like a kid in a candy store because I get to hang out with these rock stars. And the next person you're going to listen to, you've heard him before. He is truly a rock star in dentistry. And I just get to hang out while they pull their guitar and play on stage and share great thoughts and great music so that you guys can create a better practice and a better life. And today we're going to be talking about social media, why most social media in dentistry is BS, and highlight reels with my good friend Adamo. So Adamo, thanks for being on, brother. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Always love being here. Glad to be back my second time. Hopefully we'll get many more pops at this because I enjoy myself a lot here.
Oh, I'm going to voluntold you 1,000 times for this. Now, I'm in a weird, cool place because like I told you before I hit the go button, like I enjoy speaking, but I'm on the back nine, you know, like of this whole journey. And I really enjoy being home, and I've burned a lot of stomach lining and spent a lot of nights in DFW or Logan Airport, you know, and my kids are older now. And so it's fun to watch you do this journey. And I know you're rethinking a lot of it, but I think it's pretty cool what you do in dentistry. And I actually just did a podcast with Kevin Groth, and he's like, who else you got? I go, Adamo. He's like, no way. He's like, I just signed up for his course. So I'm going to have you talk about the course. He and Zach are both taking the course, I think. Those guys. Yes. So my question is, why are rock stars taking other rock stars' course? But we'll talk about that in a second. But
we can.
I think one of my favorite things, I don't know. I'm not thinking, I know. One of my favorite things is who you are. Like, I love who you are. So if we have a lot of young dentists. We even have some pre-dent students listening. I want them to know who you are before we get into this topic. So who is Adamo? Like, who are you?
I'm a guy that has too many tattoos, and no, I'm just kidding. Who am I? Well, I'll give you a little bit of my background. I'm sure I talked about it a little on the last podcast we had, but I've been actually, I just celebrated 18 years in my office this past week, which is kind of cool because I came here right from my residency. So besides moonlighting as a resident, this is the first and only job I ever had, which is great. I went from associate to partner, and obviously still partner and owner now. But I think what defines me more is my story before I became a dentist, because I really had no idea I wanted to become a dentist at all. I think I went to the dentist 3 times my entire life. I mean, my parents are off the boat immigrants from Italy, and dentistry wasn't something that we did on a day-to-day basis. They obviously didn't have that back in the day. So I didn't know anything about dentistry, and I graduated college. I played a little pro soccer. I quit. And then my dad drove a garbage truck. So to teach me a lesson, he made me pick up trash, crazy manual labor, until I realized that I should learn to work with my head and not my behind. And his lesson worked. And I had a buddy, my fraternity brother actually, was at NYU, and he was like, apply to dental school. I'm like, what the hell is dental school? I didn't know what a Mira was, Explorer was. I applied. I had pretty decent grades. I think my interview might have gotten me in. And the rest is history. That's why I'm sitting here right now. So it's kind of crazy to know that I started on a path with absolutely no knowledge of anything. And I'm pretty proud of where I've come. And I know I got a long way to go still, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I want to talk about your path too, because there's so many things I appreciate and love about what you're doing, but you created your own path. Like, you didn't follow anybody. Like, everybody was going this way. You're like, I'm just going this way. And it's pretty cool what you've done, and you're teaching a lot of people. I want to start here though, because there's so many cool things about you. You're a huge Elvis fan. Huge. I want you to show everybody the artwork. It's gorgeous. Can you just show, like, if you're watching, look at that.
Hold on.
That's a serious fan. And so you showed that at Graceland. You and I were talking about Graceland. So you showed that at Graceland. Like, what was some of the feedback?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't have to say much. People online looked down. They were like, wow, you're a fan. And I was like, you think so? It was to preface that, obviously, my social media handle and my email and everything about me is Adamo Elvis. And it's not just because I'm a huge Elvis fan, but my middle name is actually legally Elvis.
Okay, so why? Okay, so it's legally Elvis. So your parents were fans of Elvis. And then
my father was a huge Elvis fan. He wanted to name me Elvis. My mother threatened divorce, so we got Adamo Elvis. Now, Adamo, as a matter of fact, is a very famous singer, French and Italian singer.
Wow.
So I'm named after two singers, and I can't hold a goddamn note. So
that is
whatever.
awesome.
I don't know how that happened, but it's all good.
Now, here's another cool, I just thought about this. Like, I live in Milwaukee. You're one of the few people in the world, you don't even need to know their last name. Like, you say Giannis here, everybody knows what they're talking about. You say Adamo, there's no explanation. You don't even explain that. There's only one guy. There's only one person.
I'm like a Brazilian soccer player. I only need one name.
You do. Now, I told you not to give me your answer. Now, if you're listening to this, there's a new Elvis movie out. So you didn't tell me this, but I want to see it. I'm a huge fan. So did you see the new Elvis movie, and give us your honest opinion?
I certainly did see the new Elvis movie, and I have to tell you, it was fantastic.
Why?
Absolutely.
Tell us
phenomenal.
why. Tell us why.
I think a lot of truth came out that even I, as a huge fan, didn't know about. I almost, at the end, and I will not spoil it, it's very sad. Mm-hmm. We see all these stars. I'm a huge Prince fan. I was a pretty big Michael Jackson fan when I was a kid, but Prince, I follow him. And, I mean, they were basically, I don't want to say somebody murdered them, but with getting unlimited pain meds, we all know what that does to people. And
right.
I didn't know it was that bad with Elvis. I thought it was self-inflicted more than it was, and apparently it was not. So it was a little eye-opening in certain areas for me, and I think this is the first time that the story maybe came from Elvis's suffering, as opposed to the Elvis and Me movie that Priscilla wrote was really, in my opinion, one-sided. Right. From her point of view, and made him kind of look like an animal. Not that maybe he wasn't in certain instances, but there's 3 sides to every story. So I think a lot of the past movies I saw were told from only one side. I think this shed a little light, and I think even non-Elvis fans would appreciate the movie and what the amount of stuff that man did it's almost frightening.
Yeah.
We think we work hard, but we did nothing compared to that.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I've had so many people, and actually I interviewed Uche Odiatu a few weeks ago. He had just seen it. He's like, Kirk, you have to see it. Like, you have, and I was like, really? He's like, it's amazing. So
I second that. I second that.
Yeah, I got to check it out. So I want to go down this path. So, I'm just going to encourage you guys, if you're listening, you got to follow Adamo. It's awesome. Like, a lot of things your stuff stops me. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is freaking, first of all, what is that? Secondly, look how gorgeous it is. And then you're very opinionated. One thing you're going to know about Adamo is he just doesn't, he's going to tell you the truth as you see it. And I love that about it. And you don't really care if anybody likes it or not. Here it is. It's coming. And you said why social media is BS and highlight reels. Can you explain the why before we get into the what? Why is this topic so important?
I saw a post on somebody's story, and I will never say a name, and it was from a very big influencer. And I get these messages all the time in my inbox, and he posted, and somebody sent them a picture of his work and said, hey, show me your ways, teach me how to do this. Now, I know for a fact that this doctor got hundreds of thousands of dollars on CE, all sorts of continuing education. So to do that level of dentistry, you didn't do it in an Instagram message to teach you in 5 seconds. Not that influence shouldn't teach and help, and I think we should. And I think that's a cool part of social media for the younger generation. They could see what the possibilities are. But I think they have to realize and have to understand that to get to the level of the educators that we all look up to, like a John Coyce or a Frank Spear or Greg Kinzer or Amanda C., you know how much work they had to do to get to that level. You know, Instagram is great to meet people. I have great friends. I use it as advertising for my courses. Obviously, that's great. But the amount of work that I do behind closed doors to get to the level that I'm practicing at right now, the younger generation can't fathom because they want, and not to their fault, everything's so fast. The click of a button on the phone, boom, boom. That's not the secret to success.
Yeah.
And I think that's the myth behind social media is you pull up a before and after and you're like, oh, 12 veneers. Can you tell me how to do that? Tell you how to do that. Do you know how many cases I had to do to get it to look that good? Forget about the ones that I don't like, you know, because any good dentist, I think, will tell you, and I will be the first to say this, we all have work out there we're not proud of.
Yeah.
And not that it's not, maybe the patient loved it, maybe it wasn't our best, but if you learn from it, that's the whole point. So to do composites at the level I'm doing them now, to do veneers at the level I'm doing them now, I failed 1,000 times. Yeah. I redid 10,000 of them. I practiced 1 billion times. And I think that gets lost now because we want, oh, you need food? Okay, DoorDash, 2 seconds. You want this? Boom, 5 seconds. That's not reality.
Yeah.
You know, the great practice and practice and practice. And that's what I mean. I don't want to, you know, to bash social media altogether and say it's BS. It's not. It's great for certain things. But I think a lot of, and I see it more with the younger generation, hey, teach me how to do, or what camera did you use? And I want to reply to them like, I'll send you my camera. You still won't take that picture because you don't understand the settings and the lighting and all that. The better question would be like, hey, where can I go to learn that? And I will say, take this course, take that course. Or if something little, I don't mind helping. But some people want a treatment plan, full mouth rehabs on a social media text. They send me 4 pictures. I'm like, no medical history, no dental. How am I supposed to help you? I can't. Right. I mean, I spent God knows how much in school and then at the Coy Center and the Dawson Center to understand how to do a full mouth rehab. And on social media, you see it in 2 pictures and people are like, oh, I can do that. You can, but you got a lot of work to do before you realize that you can get there.
Yeah. And speak to the head and the heart thing. Like I always joke, like everybody wants to run a marathon, but nobody wants to do the training. They just want the medal to say they did it, you know, and what you realize if you've ever done one, and I'm a terrible runner, is that the training is the reward. You know, the medal is kind of like the fun thing that you do afterward, but you really, and like people like Margis, you know, like nobody knows this, but Margis has a lab bench in his basement. He's like, I have screwed up and I've done more on plastic than I've done on actual human beings. And you also, 100%. You didn't get paid for a lot of that stuff you did. So like, it wasn't a financial issue. It was a pride, like learning issue for you to redo some of that stuff, right?
150%. I mean, listen, over COVID, a little before, I would say before COVID, but during COVID, I got in my head that I was fascinated with some of these guys. I'm in a group chat with some dentists from Australia, England, Holland. Their posterior composites look better than what Jesus gave the person. I mean, it's insanity. And I was obsessed. And I'm like, I need to learn how to do this. So one of them was kind enough to do a Zoom with me. They mailed me these little plastic things to practice on. I have 10,000 of them. You bet you're behind every day I did one until I was comfortable learning how to do that system. I mean, I'm almost 20 years of practice. Do I really need to practice anymore? And the answer is yes.
Yeah.
If I want to be at the level that I want to be at, the answer is yes. And I like Bob. I've done 1 billion class 4s on plastic teeth on little quadrants. I have my second resident just started a month ago, and her for gift box was a Pelican case filled with plastic teeth.
That was your gift?
Get ready.
That was your gift?
Yeah, you're not going to see 100%. You ain't seeing tooth dust for a little while until you can do it blindfolded.
Yeah.
Then it's second nature. Then it's 2 seconds. So I think that's and again that goes back to my statement. Social media shows you the before and the after with a nice car and nice clothes. The amount of work you need to do to get there, everybody wants to overlook that. And like you said, I want the home run without learning how to bunt, without learning how to hit a single. They want to go straight for the fences every time. And it's just not reality.
Right. So you are one of the people that can speak about this journey. We'll go all Clint Eastwood. We'll do the good, bad, and ugly. Social media is really good for you. Like it really did. And then, So take us through that whole continuum. So there's a good piece of social media, and then there's a really ugly piece, and just help us understand how you use it, how it helped you, and what you mean by some of these things.
Well, I mean, I think in the sense of how it's good, it made me what I am or where I am right now. And I say that when I got into photography and I learned photography, I was probably, I don't want to say the first, but one of the very few in the beginning doing this exotic lip art with fruit in mouths and all that crazy stuff. And it was very frowned upon in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little,
it was edgy
from my own office.
Well, none of us had seen it before. It was kind of like, whoa.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I remember the guys who taught me photography, two Venezuelan doctors, I did a photo with my assistant with a bullet and smoke in the mouth. And they were like, what the hell? Like, they loved it, but they were like, where did you think of this? I don't know. Just, we try stuff and we have fun a little here and there. So that really brought my name to the forefront in photography. And that came attached with dentistry. Now, hopefully the good thing is I can back up my dentistry as good as my lip pictures were. So, that could have been a bad thing, but I think it's okay. So it's been great for me in that sense, in that my name got pretty well known with dental photography. I started teaching dental photography. I started lecturing a lot more than I am now on stuff that I do day to day, like anterior composites and veneers and implants and stuff like that. So that was the great part. The other good part is, I mean, you meet amazing people. Like I said, I'm in a group chat with probably 15 dentists around the world. Their work, every day I'm like, oh my God, like it's insane. So it's cool for the exposure to see stuff that we would have never heard of half these people.
Right.
And they wouldn't have a shot to come up if we weren't able to notice them. Right. So I think that's the good for me.
Yeah.
And also, the advertising for our courses, Amanda and I mean, we don't pay for advertising anywhere. It's strictly Instagram and Facebook. And we've been blessed to sell out in seconds, which is it's humbling that we're only, and this is the start of our 4th year together. And it's crazy to think that it got that big that fast. Yeah,
and we're going to talk about that. I want you guys, if you're listening, you got to check those courses out. They're amazing, but also talk from a practice perspective. You're in a very crowded area. Like, there's a million people on every corner that can do everything, and you're not accepting a bunch of PPOs. Like what happened for you, and I'm going to paraphrase, is you just started putting your work out there. And I think when people come to you, they know this isn't going to be cheap. And like, do you have, so talk about the referral aspect, because now people come asking for a specific type of dentistry. They know you can do this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a great point. I was on a round table at the AACD with like 8 other dentists, and we each had a specific question. And one of them was, how do you get patients to understand that there's basically an extra fee to cosmetics after insurance? So I'm a fee-for-service practice. I don't take it, but we do submit on the patient's behalf. But like you said, my answer wasn't, oh, this is the discussion I have, or this is how my front desk talks to the people. My answer was, you get good. And when you get good, people know, okay, he's the best around. It ain't going to be cheap. And that's where I'm going. And my referral base now is exactly that. I mean, I stopped taking consults in the summer until September because I can't keep up with the cosmetic work that I'm getting. Yeah. And there's 67 dentists in my town alone. So
tell people where you practice, where you practice at.
I am in Long Island, New York, a town called Huntington, pretty big town. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But I think that came with, when I became accredited, my referrals got a little bigger. When I became a fellow, they went through the roof between social media and stuff like that. I mean, I saw a friend of mine is on a mommy like local town group, and somebody said, I need cosmetic dentists in Long Island. Who do I go to? And within a second, she screenshotted me. There were 7 people going, there's only one, Adamo. Wow. Now, there are a lot of good cosmetic dentists on Long Island, but I think with the credentials that I've given myself, I'm the only fellow in the AACD. With my social media presence and the art that I do, I think it set me aside a little bit so that it helps me with my referrals. And my advice to anybody who wants more referrals in a specific area will then become the best in that area, and then all referrals are going to come to you.
Yeah, and I think it's also important. Like, you were an early adopter. Like so now everyone's adopting. And so can you just talk about, and I also want to ask you, it's anyone's guess, like where you're going in the future. So in early adoption, you do get the benefit of the doubt. You catch a wave. Do you know what I mean? And so let's say, Adamo, let's say I'm listening. I wasn't an early adopter. I'm just getting started. Give me some advice if I'm 32 listening.
My advice to that is it's a lot more work than you think.
Why?
Especially the social. Why? Because you have to make yourself get out there. You have to get your name known. You have to get your work known. Not only, listen, I gave away more free dentistry during my accreditation and fellowship days just to prove to people that I was good. So word of mouth came back.
Right.
And that's what happened. Now I don't give anything away for free. I mean,
Right.
I shouldn't say anything, but for the most part, people that are coming to me know, like you said, they know what they're coming for and they're going to pay for it. But I did a lot of free dentistry. I did all my accreditation cases for free, which there was only 5. I didn't do 50 fellowship cases for free, but you can bet I gave some of them away if I saw and I was like, listen, how old is that crown? 45 years. It's fine. I know it's fine, but I need it for a board exam I'm going to take. I'm going to do it for free. And I promise it's going to be awesome. And you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then when they're done, they're like, oh my God, this looks better than my real tooth next to it. Oh, my wife wants cosmetic work. And that's how the cascade starts.
Yeah. And so when you say it's a lot of work, I mean, it's probably part of your workflow. So you do, you get to know patients, and then you probably have this post-treatment consult process workflow, and you don't have to give away all your secrets, but like it's part of your thing, right? It's part of your system to eventually get this to social media, right? Or no?
Oh, yeah. So, the funny thing is when people come for cosmetic stuff, I always do a post, I guess if you want to call it celebration photo shoot. I mean, I'll do funky makeup. I'll do regular makeup. I'll give headshots. I'll let them have their headshots. I'll give them the photos to use. They put it up on their profile pic and they're like, oh, that's a beautiful pic that you took. Who took it for you? What photographer? And they're like, no, that was my dentist. And they're like, wait a minute, what? So that always works really well. If they like the crazy makeup, which most of them come and they're like, I want to do something funky. And I'm like, all right, we'll do your teeth. And then I'll hire the makeup artist and we do it. So they come knowing that I'll tell you, this is a true story. I had a patient message me on social media and she said, I need you to do my mouth. I'm a mess. Okay. Where you coming from? Around Baltimore, Maryland. So I look up her town and I write her back and I said, listen, my mentor, the man I look up to the most on this planet in the AACD and as a friend is 5 minutes from your house. Go. Nope. He's not on social media. I already checked. I want to come up and I want to be in a photo shoot. So she drove 5.5 hours for every appointment. I did her whole upper arch and she came back up. I had a makeup artist here. We did a photo shoot for her and that's what she wanted the most.
Yeah, that is so awesome. People will search out. When they value something, they're going to find the person. Now, I just got to know for my own purposes. Do you segment time during the week? Like, do you say, okay, we do all our photo stuff on Thursday, or do you just find time to do it? I'm just curious for my own benefit. Like, do you, like how you're scheduling?
Yeah, so my makeup artist is usually, I mean, especially now, this is wedding season. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a no-go. So usually I work pretty late until Tuesday. So I'll do like a 7, 8 o'clock photo shoot for about an hour and a half.
Okay. That's
Patient
cool.
will come at the end of a Tuesday night. Yeah. So it's good stuff.
Okay. So that's the good. Let's get into the bad and the ugly. Like when you're looking at social media, you're like, oh, come on. Like what are some of the things that make you cringe? Because I know you want to be helpful. And then you're like, oh, man, these are misses from your perspective.
Yeah. It's funny. I never ever say that about dentistry, right? So I wouldn't look at somebody, I get tagged on a lot of photos and listen, I'll be honest, some of the work that I get, is it great and an improvement for a patient? Yes. Is it at the aesthetic level that my eye is trained at right now? No. Would it be something I posted? Maybe not. However, that person did a great service. They're learning, they're proud, and that's a good thing, right? What drives me nuts is when people put before and after something like almost ridiculous. And they're like, oh, I did that in one visit. I'm like, come on, listen, nobody's ego needs to be stroked here. That's a year-long process, 6-month long. Explain it, say it. Even if you don't give your exact steps, that's fine. Because like I said, you can't teach that kind of dentistry in a post. It's impossible. Right. So just say, hey, this patient went through a full mouth rehabilitation. It took 6 months, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So I think the bad stuff is people see it. Other people see it who are not trained. They look at it and they go, oh, he did that in one visit. I could do that. And that's a nightmare for a patient,
Mm-hmm.
right? A complete and utter nightmare, because the proper protocols, the proper sequence, the proper treatment wasn't taken into account. It was all for a before and an after. And I think that's what kills me about social media. People are all they're looking for is, I need my before and after to post. I have so many before and afters that if I never took another one again, I could post for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
However, I try to use ones that I think are educational, that there are some that I don't like, that I don't think 80% of my following would even notice what I don't like. But that's the cool thing about your education. As you get better, you see more than you did 10 years ago. I wouldn't have noticed stuff that I see now 10 years ago because my eye wasn't trained as well. I just think that it's just too much before and after. And like I said, everybody wants it fast. They want it done. And they miss the diagnosis, the risk assessment, all the stuff we put into every single case that I put up, and I know people that I'm close to put up. There's so much more to it.
Right.
So much more to it. And it's very hard to control, right? Because it's social media. It is what it is. But I just wish that people took a step back and realized, it's a cool platform to share and have discussions, but it's not the Bible for dentistry. You have to go get educated.
Right.
And I think that's very overlooked in a lot of areas.
Yeah. And if you look at the last 30 years of education, I think you'd probably agree with this. Like, there was a turn a couple of years, probably 10, 15 years ago, where some of the biggest names that you were mentioning, they started presenting cases and showing failures. Like, one of them, I'm like, oh my God. And he goes, yeah. And she sued me and she won. I was like, oh my God, you just told everybody in the audience. And it was horrible. You could see the tissues were terrible. Now, it was at that moment, there were 400 dentists in the room. I was like, that's brilliant. He's being crazy honest in a room of people, because prior to that, you saw people do full mouth cases and had second homes and how perfect everything was. And so I think you're pointing to an honesty, a humility, an authentic approach to who you are when people see your work or when you teach it, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, Amanda and I, we do composite. We're doing a veneer course now. Photography is kind of hard to show failures because it's just pictures and they're digital. Right. But I try to find my composite cases that there's something wrong, like very wrong.
You do?
Because you're going to know. Yeah, because I could sit here and I'll show you 100 beautiful composite cases, but all I'm doing is standing up there, in my opinion, and stroking my own ego. That's not my purpose as an educator. My purpose as an educator is for my students in a week to send me something and be like, look what I did. Or better yet, show me one that didn't come out good and be like, oh, I know why. I used the wrong enamel composite on the incisal third. That's the best text I could get. They're all pissed off and upset. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yes, you figured it out. Because you could just go cut that thing back and one more layer and you're a home run, right? But with social media, all you want is perfection. I want the perfect before and after. No, you want to fail and fail again and fail again. Because once you can say to me, you know what, Doc, I should have used a chromatic enamel instead of an achromatic. Boom. My class was worth every penny that you just spent. 100%.
Right. Now, there's one other piece I want to mention. It's the ugly. So we talked about the good, bad, the ugly. And tell me if you hear this from dentists. There's a danger in the ugly side of social media, like really ugly. And it's when you put too much self-worth into what's happening on there. I'll tell you I'll tell you one story. There's a very well-known dentist, and he shared this journey with me. He didn't share it publicly, but privately. I'm like, you okay? He's like, no. I put one of my most gorgeous cases up there, and my mentor has not liked it yet. And I know he's seen it. Like, I'm curious why he's not liking my post. And I said, that is not a good use of your energy. Do you know what I mean? Like, It's just not. I think you can put too much value in who's liking it, who's responding to it. What are people saying? You probably respond, but you're not losing any sleep on like how many likes you're getting. If somebody's liking it, is John Coyce looking at my stuff? He better be looking at my stuff. Why is he not responding to my stuff? Can you coach us through that? Because there is an ugly side to social media.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly where I was going to go with that, because I get messages at least, I'm not going to exaggerate and say weekly, but definitely monthly, where I have somebody that I mentor, and I mentor a boatload of people, especially for accreditation, and they say, I need to quit dentistry. I'll never do the work that I see up on social media, and my work sucks, and I'm a horrible dentist. And I'm like, listen to me carefully. Social media is a highlight reel. that is the one best case that person had that month or year, and they photographed it at 7 different angles and got 7 posts out of it. That's not what they do every day. And I'm going to be honest, the stuff you see in mine, it ain't what I do every day either, because not everyone turns out that damn perfect. It just doesn't happen, right? I use the ones that fail for my lectures because I want to show you why. And I should put my beautiful ones up on social media. So if you really scroll through my social media, there's not a lot of before and afters. I show some rubber dam stuff, more artsy stuff, because to me, the dentistry stuff, I don't have anything to prove to anybody on there. I really don't. I do it. I try to teach when I post certain stuff, but these, especially the younger people, oh my God, I'm never going to be that good. I was you 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago when I started. I had 2 left hands. I mean, everybody did. There's no dentist that tells you, oh, the minute I picked up a mirror, I could do a class 3 with perfect posture. Bullshit. You put the mirror down, you stuck your head in the patient's mouth, you had neck pain for about 6 weeks, and after now, we can do anything with a mirror, right? Why? Because we drilled 35,000 teeth. Yeah. But that's what they don't get. That's why Bob Marges is brilliant by saying, I have a lab in my basement, I practice on plastic teeth, because it's like riding a bike, as we know. When you can do it blindfolded and you know your composite that well and you know the layering and the color, I could do it. Mm-hmm. Composite veneers in no time. My accreditation case for composite veneers took me 44 hours.
Wow.
11 appointments at 4 hours a clip.
That's a lot.
All sorts of a lot, but it was for accreditation, so it had to be, Now, 6 composite veneers, give me 2 hours at best, and I'll fly through that. Is the result going to be any better? No, my composite veneers from my accreditation case were beautiful, but I understand my composite better. I know how it handles. I'm faster because I've done them so much. I know how to shape quicker than I did back then. It just comes with time, and that came with practice, not because, I passed accreditation. Now all of a sudden, wow, my hands work faster. Right. I kept practicing, even accredited, even as a fellow. So that's the ugly part of social media. Is it can be very depressing for a lot of people. So anyone that's close to me or that I mentor, I'm like, forget social media. You're not doing the dentistry you're showing me to learn because you want to post it. I want it to be bad so that we can figure out why is it bad and what do you have to work on to get better. When you figure that out, then post away and have fun with it. But that's to me is the ugliest part of it, is how bad it puts some people into a depression. It's almost, it's sad. It's sad. Because like you said, to base it on how many likes, I mean, listen, I know people who have 10 times the amount of followers than I do. And do I think my dentistry is just as good, if not better? Yeah. Do I really give a crap that I have whatever? No. The people that follow me, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope you learn. And that's all I want to do with it. That's it.
That's so well said, brother. I got to ask you, like, where are you headed next? Like, what are you up to now? Like, we're going to talk about your courses, but like, you're always doing creative stuff. Like, what's on your brain today in the next couple of months? Like, what are you up to?
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to enjoy a little bit of golf this summer. I took on no lecturing. Until September. This is the first year in many, many years I'm not working through the summer. So I'm going to chill out, enjoy the summer a little bit. And where my number one focus is impress with Amanda. So that's where we're headed. I mean, it's gotten pretty big, pretty fast. So, we do our courses in a hotel now. We're entertaining possibly a space and see if we take it to that level. So that's where my mind and my focus is on what Amanda and I have created and where we want to move forward with that. Creatively, I still love my photo shoots. I love the stuff that I do. I really love the education part. Like I said, I took on another resident, Dr. Sarah Cookoff. She's awesome. She's been with me a month now. Prior to that, I had Dr. Devin McClintock. I know most people, if they follow me on social media, they all know Devin. She was an unbelievable resident for 2 years, and it's amazing to see how far she's grown after working and learning from me and teaching me, which is kind of crazy because she's that good. So as a matter of fact, her wedding is this weekend, so I'm super excited for that.
Good for you.
And now, yeah, it'll be fun. We're heading down to see Devin get married. And then, I'm just trying to keep the education going and get people to stay on the path. I think for me worked great. I think for our patients works good because I see a change in dentistry in general in terms of how much is going corporate versus how much is staying fee for service. And I always will believe that there is a need for us, for the experts in the field to deliver exceptional dentistry that I don't think, it might not be possible on an insurance based in terms of reimbursement and stuff like that. And I don't want to get too into that, but there's always going to be a need for that high level of work. So if I can be one of the pioneers that keep people rolling in that direction and say, you know what, I want to practice like Adamo or Amanda or Jill Kinzer or Greg Kinzer or there's so many awesome people out there that are in that fee for service, in that high quality, good, good quality dentistry, then that's where my head is at right now.
Yeah, 1,000%. If you're listening to like what Adamo's saying is absolutely true. In order to survive and thrive in fee for service, you got to be good at something. Like it's not about writing a letter, raising your fees. People have to come to you because you're really good at something. And this is a perfect opportunity to do this. Now, I want you to talk about the courses that you and Amanda have created. I'm telling you guys, if you're listening and you want to see some unbelievable stuff and be mentored or get an opportunity to be part of a fantastic course, you got to check this out. So tell us, first of all, how did you create it? What am I going to learn if I come as a dentist? And how do I go to learn more about it? So tell us why you guys created it.
Awesome. So, I met Amanda. It's really weird because we knew each other through the AACD. Amanda's accredited and fellow as well as myself. So I knew of her. I mean, she was, the face of Ivoclar on the back of magazines before I knew Amanda personally. We happened to sit together at a American Society of Dental Aesthetic meeting in Austin, Texas. And we had very mutual friends. So we sat next to each other in a course, and I had my laptop open, and she had hers open. I saw her working on something. I looked over. I'm like, wow, that's kind of nice. And she would do the same. So we started talking. A mutual friend came over and said, hey, I'm having Adamo come teach me photography in my office. Why don't you come? So the following this was in October, so January, we went down to a friend's office in Florida, and we spent a couple days together. And, I knew talking to Amanda for 5 minutes that she was a rock star. So we were just BSing one day, and she was like, we should do something one day. So, 10 people have said that to me. But Amanda and I kept in touch, and we said, you know what, let's do a one-day composite course in Charleston, where Amanda lives. It's a great destination city, and let's see what happens. Well, we did that. We had it for September of 2018, and it sold out in 5 seconds. But the week of, there was a hurricane, so it got canceled. Mm-hmm. So I go, Amanda, I guess maybe we're not meant to be, but whatever. So we move it to November, and thankfully every participant stayed. So we did the course. We got great reviews. And then, over the Christmas holiday, we started talking, maybe we'll do a little curriculum. We came up with the name Impress together. We started off with 3 courses. We had a photography course, class 4 composite course, and a rubber dam and bonding course the first year. The second year, we added another course, which is smile design, diastema closure, and injection molding. And then this year, we're adding our 5th course, which is prep temp and impressioning aesthetic veneer cases, upper and lower arch. So that's our new course called Blueprint. So we're at 5 courses right now. We're running, I think, 9 total in 2023. Our 2022 sold out in like less than 2 days.
Wow.
Which is pretty crazy. 2023 is going pretty fast so far. So if anyone's interested, our website is Impress with 1 S, IMPRES, courses.com. We'd love to have everybody and anybody come. The courses, I think, are unique in that they're about 80% hands-on. So you really get a good 2 days of hands-on. The hotel is beautiful. Charleston's amazing. There's great food. We have a lot of fun. We have a little wine and cheese cocktail on the first night for everybody. So we try to make it as fun and hands-on as possible. The reviews so far have been amazing. Amanda's a beast, so she's just so awesome to watch and to lecture with and learn from. It's always, we're so polar opposite, but we're so alike. It's funny. So watching us heckle each other during lectures, it's pretty funny for 2 days. I think it's like a comedy show. It's good.
That's awesome. And so where do I go to find out? I'm going to have our writers put it in our show notes. So if you're listening on Stitcher, iTunes, Spotify, just flip up to the notes, but give us the link. Like, how do we find out more about it? Where do we go?
It's www.impress, IMPRES courses.com.
Awesome. Awesome. So check it out. And again, everything is in the links. We're going to put Adamo's social media, and you can just click on it and follow. I'm going to encourage you to do it. Check out his courses. It's awesome. Thank you for being on today, brother. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Enjoy it as always. Look forward to the next time.
Oh, I'm going to, like I told you, I'm voluntolding you. We're going to have a regular segment, and we're just going to cover everything, This is awesome. Well, stick around. We say goodbye to everybody else, but thank you guys for listening to the Best Practices Show podcast. Hey, if you enjoyed today, which I know you did, do us a favor, hit the share button, share this with your friends and your colleagues, spread the good word for us. Keep sending us suggestions for things you guys want to see. I get them all the time, and I'm going to have Adamo back. Like, if you have questions about those things he's an expert at, send them to me. I'll get them on the show, and we'll just dish the questions to the expert, and that way you guys can get them straight from him. But thank you guys for listening. Until we see you guys next time, or you hear from us next time, keep watching the Best Practices Show. You guys enjoy your day.